As we look ahead to the winter of 2025 to 2026, many of us are wondering what to expect. Will we need to bundle up in heavy coats, or will a light jacket do the trick? The old Farmers Almanac, a trusted source for weather predictions for over 2 centuries, has released its extended forecast. This year, the theme is mostly mild, with pockets of wild. This suggests that while a majority of the United States will experience a gentler winter than usual, certain areas should prepare for some surprisingly cold and snowy conditions. It's a forecast that paints a picture of contrast, with different regions experiencing winter in very different ways. This split personality for winter means that your experience will largely depend on where you live. For many, the season will be characterized by temperatures that are near or even slightly above average, which is definitely welcome news for those who dread the bitter cold. However, the wild part of the forecast shouldn't be ignored. These pockets of intense winter weather could bring significant chills and disruptive storms to specific zones. It's a reminder that even in a generally milder season, nature can still deliver powerful surprises. So it's always best to be prepared for anything that Mother Nature might have in store for us. The overall message from the almanac is one of variability. Instead of a single, uniform weather pattern blanketing the entire country, we are likely to see a patchwork of conditions. This means one part of the nation could be enjoying unseasonably pleasant days, while another is digging out from a major snowstorm. This forecast is a fascinating look at how complex weather systems interact to create diverse local climates. Understanding this general outlook helps us set our expectations and prepare our homes and wardrobes for the specific type of winter that is headed our way, whether it's mild, wild, or somewhere in between. This year's forecast from the old Farmers Almanac is built on a time-tested formula that has been used for generations. It combines solar science, climatology, and meteorology to predict long-range weather patterns. By looking at historical weather data and comparing it with current solar activity, the almanac provides a unique perspective on the coming season. It's not just about looking at computer models, it's about understanding the natural cycles of the sun and the earth. This traditional method gives us a broad guiding overview, helping families and communities plan for the months ahead with a bit more confidence and a lot less guesswork. This winter, the United States will feel like a country divided by temperature. The most significant chill is predicted for the eastern and southeastern parts of the nation. If you live in the Appalachians, the Ohio Valley, or down through the southeast and into Florida, you should get ready for a colder than normal winter. These regions are expected to be the main pockets of wild, where the mercury will dip lower than usual, bringing a sharper bite to the air. This means more days of needing heavy winter gear and higher heating bills as families work to stay warm through the season's coldest stretches. In stark contrast, most of the rest of the country can look forward to a milder winter experience. From the Northeast and the Atlantic corridor, across the upper Midwest and the Heartland, and all the way to the Pacific coast, temperatures are forecast to be near or even above normal. For people in these areas, winter might feel less intense than usual. There will still be cold days, of course, but the season as a whole is not expected to be relentlessly frigid. This milder trend could mean fewer weather-related disruptions and perhaps even more opportunities to enjoy outdoor activities without the extreme cold. Let's look at some specific examples of this divide. While Florida, a state known for its warmth, is bracing for below-normal temperatures, regions like the Pacific Northwest are expecting the opposite, with above-normal temperatures. Similarly, the Deep South and Texas, Oklahoma are forecast to have a warmer-than-average winter, a stark difference from the chill predicted for their neighbors in the Southeast. This demonstrates how major weather patterns can create dramatically different conditions even in adjacent parts of the country. It's a classic example of how your location truly determines your winter forecast this year. This regional variation is a key takeaway from the 2025 to 2026 Almanac forecast. It cautions us against making broad generalizations about the upcoming winter. A friend in Chicago might be enjoying a relatively mild season, while a relative in Atlanta is dealing with an unusual cold spell. It highlights the importance of paying attention to your local forecast. Knowing whether your region falls into the mild or wild category is the first step in getting ready for the specific challenges and comforts that the winter months will bring to your doorstep, ensuring you're prepared for whatever comes your way. When it comes to precipitation, the forecast for winter 2025 to 2026 points toward a drier than usual season for much of the United States. Many areas, including the Northeast, the Atlantic Corridor, and the Pacific Northwest, are expected to see below normal levels of both rain and snow. This could mean fewer major storms and more extended dry periods throughout the winter months. For some, this might be welcome news, translating to clearer roads and fewer shoveling sessions. However, for regions that rely on winter precipitation to replenish water supplies, a dry season could raise concerns about drought conditions later in the year. While the overarching theme is dryness, there are notable exceptions where precipitation is expected to be above average. Florida is one such area, forecast to receive more rain than usual. Similarly, the Intermountain region and the eastern parts of the desert Southwest are also predicted to have a wetter than normal winter. These areas could see more frequent storms, which is beneficial for refilling reservoirs and supporting agriculture. This mix of dry and wet zones again highlights the variability of this year's winter, where one region's weather story can be completely different from its neighbors. Snowfall predictions also follow this pattern of regional contrasts. Most of the country is forecast to receive near or below normal snowfall. This aligns with the milder temperature predictions for places like the upper Midwest and the Northeast. However, some of the colder pockets are also where we can expect more snow. The southern Appalachians, parts of the Carolinas, the eastern Ohio Valley, and the southern Rockies should prepare for greater than normal snowfall. In these areas, the combination of cold air and available moisture will create the perfect conditions for significant winter storms and a beautiful, snow-covered landscape. For families who love winter sports like skiing and snowboarding, this forecast offers a mixed bag. The ski resorts in the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest might see less natural snow than usual, potentially relying more on snowmaking equipment. On the other hand, resorts in the southern Rockies and the Appalachians could be in for a fantastic season with plenty of fresh powder. It's a good idea for winter enthusiasts to keep an eye on these regional snow forecasts when planning their seasonal getaways. This detailed outlook helps everyone from city commuters to mountain adventurers prepare for the specific type of precipitation coming their way. So what's behind this mostly mild with pockets of wild forecast? The old Farmers Almanac points to a few major climate factors that are working together to shape our winter. One of the biggest influences is the sun itself. We are currently in solar cycle 25, which has recently passed its peak of activity. Historically, periods of high solar activity tend to have a slight warming effect on Earth's average temperatures. This solar influence is a key reason why many parts of the country are expected to experience a milder than normal winter, as the sun's energy output plays a subtle but important role in our global climate patterns. Another critical factor is the state of the Pacific Ocean, specifically the El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO cycle. This winter we are seeing the fading of La Niña, with the Pacific Ocean transitioning toward neutral conditions. La Niña typically brings colder and stormier weather to the northern United States, and warmer, drier conditions to the south. As its influence wanes, the jet stream, a fast-moving river of air high in the atmosphere, is expected to shift. This change in the jet stream's path is a primary driver behind the regional temperature and precipitation differences we see in the forecast, allowing for different weather patterns to take hold across the country. Finally, we have to talk about the polar vortex. This is a large area of cold air and low pressure that typically swirls over the North Pole during the winter. Sometimes this vortex can become unstable and get displaced, sending blasts of frigid Arctic air deep into the United States. While the overall forecast is mild, the almanac suggests that a displaced polar vortex could be responsible for the pockets of wild we might experience. These Arctic outbreaks would be temporary but intense, bringing sudden, sharp cold snaps and the potential for heavy snow to regions that might otherwise be having a mild season. These three forces, the solar cycle, the fading La Niña, and the unpredictable polar vortex, are the main ingredients in this winter's weather recipe. By understanding how they interact, forecasters at the Almanac can piece together a long-range outlook. It's a complex dance of atmospheric and solar dynamics that determines whether your winter will be gentle or harsh. For all of us, it's a good reminder to stay prepared. Keep your winter emergency kits ready, have your snow shovels on standby, and get ready to enjoy the season, whether it brings you mild days or a wild winter wonderland.